There are moments when you feel you are doing everything right, working hard, thinking positively, trying to keep your faith, and yet something seems to block the flow of prosperity. It is as if there were an invisible barrier between you and what you desire to manifest. And perhaps this barrier is not out there in the world, but within your own energetic field. Napoleon Hill once said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But what Hill called belief, we now understand as vibration. What you truly believe, not just with your thoughts, but with your feelings, emits a frequency, and that frequency is the real request the universe hears. Think of it this way. Thought is like a seed, but a seed alone does not generate life. It needs fertile soil, and that soil is your emotion. If thought is the intention, emotion is the field that magnetizes it. When you think of prosperity but feel fear, guilt, or insecurity, it is as if you are trying to plant flowers in dry ground. The desire exists, but the soil does not sustain it. Prosperity, before being an external event, is an internal state of vibrational coherence between mind and emotion, between thought and energy field. Neuroscientist Joe Dispenza explains that the heart and brain create an electromagnetic field together, and when they are in harmony, the energy you emit becomes coherent. In this state, your energy communicates order, clarity, and openness to the universe. But when the heart vibrates in fear and the brain in control, there is noise, disconnection, and energetic chaos. In that chaos, abundance cannot find room to manifest. Prosperity is not a moral reward. It is a vibrational response. Maybe no one has told you this, but your body is the translator of your fate. Every cell carries the memory of what you have believed possible or impossible. When your mind says, "I want to prosper," but your body still vibrates, "It's not safe to have," there is an energetic division, and the universe responds to that division, not to the surface intention. That is why many people say affirmations, study, work hard, and yet still feel scarcity. It is not a lack of effort. It is a lack of vibrational coherence. Your aura, that subtle field surrounding the body, is the true soil where prosperity germinates. It is the invisible space that contains your intentions, emotions, and frequencies. And like any soil, it can be fertile or barren. When you carry worry, resentment, and old beliefs about worthiness, your aura becomes dense and tired. But when you cultivate trust, gratitude, and presence, it expands and shines, and the field around you responds. Prosperity then ceases to be an effort and becomes a natural state.
Understand this. Money, opportunities, encounters, all of it is attracted by a specific vibration. Prosperity is not what you chase. It is what you emit. When your energy vibrates expansion, the universe responds with synchronicity. When it vibrates fear, the universe grows silent, not as punishment, but as resonance. The vibration of scarcity is a prayer without faith. The vibration of trust is a prayer already answered. Breathe deeply now. Feel what is present. Perhaps there is anxiety, resistance, or an old echo of fear. That's all right. You do not need to fight it. Just observe it, because loving observation is already the beginning of transformation. When you observe yourself without judgment, your energy begins to reorganize. Coherence begins to form. This journey is an invitation to cross that bridge between mind and energy field, to understand that activating your aura of prosperity is not about external techniques, but about inner alignment, until your entire field vibrates abundance and the universe simply reflects what you have become. There is a kind of exhaustion that does not come from the body but from the soul, a quiet heaviness that appears when you feel you've been trying to change your life, but somehow you keep moving in circles. You study, You work, you try to stay positive, but something inside still fears losing everything. This fear is not rational, it's vibrational. It's inherited, learned, the silent fear of not having enough. And while it exists within you, a part of your energy remains trapped in the frequency of survival. The conscious mind says, I want to prosper, but the body, conditioned by past experiences, still vibrates, I can't. This contradiction creates the invisible block. The brain may dream, but the body does not follow. When body and mind are not coherent, the energetic field fragments. The universe feels that division and responds accordingly, with opportunities that almost manifest but slip away, doors that open and close, flows that begin and then stop. It is not bad luck, it is vibrational dissonance.
The subconscious mind is the silent guardian of financial worthiness. It stores beliefs you absorbed since childhood, beliefs that are not truly yours, but that you live as though they were. Money is hard. Rich people aren't spiritual. It's wrong to want more. These phrases, repeated over a lifetime, become energetic codes written into your body. Each time you try to prosper, these memories vibrate fear, guilt, or self-protection, and your body, loyal to its programming, recreates the same reality, believing it is keeping you safe. Napoleon Hill said that the mind is a magnet, but the magnet doesn't attract what it wants, it attracts what it is. If within you there is tension, scarcity becomes your dominant vibration. This is the frequency of survival, a neurochemical state in which the body lives in alert, filled with cortisol and fear. In that state, creative energy drains away, intuition fades, the heart closes, life becomes a cycle of control and exhaustion. The body, the heart, and the mind move in survival, and in that rhythm, prosperity cannot flow, because prosperity does not arise from control, it arises from trust. The universe does not respond to your speed, but to your coherence. And coherence is born when mind and body say the same thing. I am safe. I can receive. You do not manifest what you think. You manifest what your body believes is true. That is why true transformation happens not in thought, but in energy. Prosperity begins the moment you notice when your body tenses at the thought of money. That moment is not failure. It is a doorway. When you observe it with calm awareness, energy begins to shift. Healing scarcity is not about adding more. It is about releasing what no longer serves. Fear, control, resistance. Prosperity is not about acquisition, but remembrance. It is the return to your natural state of abundance, buried beneath layers of worry and defense. And when you begin to remember, something changes. The body softens. The mind quiets. Energy flows again. Prosperity stops being a goal and becomes the field you live in. For much of our lives, we were taught that prosperity is about effort, about doing more, finding the right plan, following the perfect steps. We chase methods, formulas, and strategies. But after all the movement, something feels incomplete. That's because we mistake motion for flow and exhaustion for alignment. Prosperity is never born from effort. It arises from harmony. Napoleon Hill never spoke of blind effort. His message was about energy directed by faith and clarity of purpose. He understood that the mind is a transmitter and that the energy it emits determines the form of what returns. It is not the action itself that creates results, but the vibration behind the action. Acting from fear is not the same as acting from faith. Working from anxiety is not the same as working from purpose. The difference lies not in how much you do, but in how aligned you are while doing it. When you act from fear, even unknowingly, you send a silent message to the universe. I don't trust. And the universe responds accordingly. But when action arises from calm confidence, from inner certainty, something shifts. Opportunities don't need to be chased.
They are drawn to you. Prosperity is not achieved through pursuit, but through resonance. Imagine trying to catch a bird with a net. The bird senses the tension, the anxiety, and flies away. But imagine someone sitting quietly, open-handed, offering rest. The bird lands freely. Prosperity behaves the same way. It lands only where it feels safe. To prosper is to become the open palm, not the net. When emotion and intention are aligned, the brain emits gamma waves, the same creative state Napoleon Hill called infinite intelligence. In this state, the mind becomes a vessel for inspiration, synchronicity, and effortless flow. Prosperity, then, has little to do with how much you act and everything to do with how much coherence you sustain. True abundance is never about chasing what is missing, but about embodying what already is. Seeking comes from lack. Allowing comes from fullness. When you act from fullness, action is no longer struggle. It becomes expression. The universe does not reward those who do more, but those who vibrate in clarity. Clarity is calm. Clarity is faith in the natural rhythm of things. Hill called it applied faith. Dispenza calls it coherence. Both point to the same law. Life mirrors your dominant vibration, not your conscious desire. When you understand this, your energy shifts from effort to flow. You stop chasing prosperity and become the field where it rests.
There is a quiet law that governs all energy in the universe. Nothing is lost. Everything transforms. The same applies to human emotion. What we call fear, envy, or guilt is not negative energy. It is dense energy awaiting transformation. Just as coal contains the same essence as a diamond, dense emotions hold within them the raw power of creation. The difference lies in consciousness, in the awareness that refines them. Napoleon Hill spoke of the transmutation of sexual energy as one of the great keys to success. What he described is the universal principle of emotional alchemy. Every emotion, when consciously redirected, becomes power. The same is true of scarcity. Once you stop fighting it and begin to understand it, it becomes magnetism. The obstacle to transformation is judgment. We are taught to suppress emotion, to fear our shadows, to label feelings as good or bad. But rejecting emotion keeps us trapped in its vibration. Running from fear is still vibrating fear. Avoiding sadness is still resonating lack. Transformation begins when you allow yourself to feel without resistance, not to drown in it, but to listen to its message. Every emotion is a vibration speaking to you. Envy says you have forgotten that you can have it too. Fear says you have forgotten that life supports you. Guilt says you have forgotten your innocence. When you bring light to the message, energy reorganizes. The dense emotion becomes raw material for expansion. Think of spiritual gold. Gold is not created from nothing. It is drawn from the depths of pressure and darkness. The same is true for vibrational wealth. You refine light from shadow. Your dense emotions are not blocks to enlightenment. They are invitations to transformation. Physics teaches that energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed. Every repressed emotion still lives within you, waiting to be acknowledged. When you meet it with awareness, it changes form. When you resist it, it hardens into patterns. Awareness dissolves resistance. When you breathe through an emotion instead of fighting it, you create coherence between heart and brain. The energy reorganizes. The magnetic field stabilizes. The universe responds. You do not need to eliminate emotion, only to understand it. In that understanding, scarcity becomes fuel. What was once tension becomes presence. What was once fear becomes depth. What was once pain becomes power. This is the spiritual alchemy Hill foresaw, the art of converting what once imprisoned you into what now propels you.
When you live from this awareness, the body vibrates differently, the mind emits differently, the heart magnetizes differently, and prosperity, sensing coherence,
returns home. The aura is more than a field around your body. It is the living expression of your inner state. It is the silent communication of your vibration to the universe. When your aura is coherent with prosperity, life arranges itself around you with ease. When it is fragmented by fear, everything feels like resistance. Prosperity is not a matter of effort, but of field. True abundance is not about accumulation, it is about expansion. Energy must move. When you try to hold on to it, it stagnates. When you allow it to flow, it multiplies. The prosperous aura is one that circulates, giving and receiving as one continuous movement. Joe Dispenza teaches that genuine gratitude creates coherence between heart and brain, restructuring the body's electromagnetic field. Gratitude, when felt deeply, alters your energetic geometry. It is not a performance of positivity. It is an embodied truth. Gratitude that is real says to the universe, "I already have it." And the universe, faithful to resonance, says, "Then so it is." There are subtle signs of an aura misaligned with prosperity: rushing, comparison, guilt for desiring more, the constant need to prove worth. These are not moral flaws. They are vibrational signals of fear. When fear dominates, the aura contracts, and contraction blocks flow. By contrast, a prosperous aura is light, calm, open. It radiates clarity. Life moves in harmony around it. Synchronicities occur effortlessly because coherence is magnetic. This is not fantasy. It is physics of the spirit. Prosperity, like sunlight, is constant. It never stops shining, but many live behind closed curtains of fear and doubt. The light is there, but the permission is not. Opening those curtains, allowing yourself to receive, is all that is required. When your field is coherent, you become a point of harmony within the universe. Harmony attracts harmony. The prosperous aura is not something you create. It is what naturally emerges when you stop resisting who you already are. Prosperity is not achieved, it is allowed. The universe does not respond to words, but to vibration. And the vibration of abundance is quiet, steady, and real, like the pulse of your own heart.
True prosperity does not reveal itself at the height of striving, but in the stillness that follows faith. It is not born from the struggle to control life, but from the union of desire and certainty. Hill knew this when he wrote that thought is the beginning, but faith is the motor. The mind conceives, the heart believes, and together they create. Neville Goddard called this feeling the wish fulfilled, the sacred act of imagining so vividly that the universe cannot tell whether it is memory or vision. Imagination, when felt, is prayer, not begging, but becoming. The aura of prosperity activates in that precise balance where wanting dissolves into knowing, where waiting turns into being, where you stop reaching for abundance and start radiating it. Prosperity is not moral, it is vibrational. The universe does not judge, it mirrors. It reflects not your words, but your energy. Fear calls fear. Gratitude calls grace. Faith calls form. Wealth is vibration in rest, the moment when wanting and trusting become one. In that stillness, your energy field stabilizes, your mind clears, and your life flows. Money, ideas, and people move toward you naturally, not because you chase them, but because you have become the space where they belong. Just as Earth's magnetic field holds the planet in balance, your prosperous aura sustains abundance when you stop resisting. The secret is not in creating wealth, but in ceasing to block it. Breathe into this truth. Between one thought and another, there is silence, and in that silence lives your creative power. There is no hurry, no lack, no fear, only presence. Hill taught that success is a state of mind. Today, science shows it is also a state of energy. Faith, emotion, and coherence generate waves that shape reality. When you embody this, life stops being a struggle and becomes creation itself. Prosperity is not something you earn, It is something you remember. It has always been there, waiting for the moment you stop doubting your own light. The universe does not answer need, it answers certainty. Let your energy rest in that certainty now. The mind creates, the heart directs, the spirit manifests. And in the silence that follows, realize this: prosperity is not something that comes to you, it is what emanates from you, once you finally remember who you are.